Pretty good. Yourself, Mr. Band?
Just Charlie. I'm doing good. Just like crazy busy, but that's what we all, that's the dream, right?
Yes, and I do appreciate your time.
No problem. Fire away. I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to do this as quick as possible because I had many fans ask me a lot of questions, but I'm going to hit some of them. All right, many fans would go to video stores and rent Full Moon films and watch these films till the end of the credits to be rewarded with Video Zone. If you don't mind me asking, whatever happened to Video Zone?
Well, it was quite an enterprise back in the day, and we were, not to say we weren't busy, but we had a little more time and a little more budget to create what sometimes was like a half-hour magazine. But you should know, and the fans should know, that starting with PuppetMaster 10, Ashes Rising, which I'm shooting next month, will be out in October, we are actually going to recreate and do a full-length video. So we're back in the video business. Let's start with PuppetMaster Access.
That's very good to hear because many fans, many beginner filmmakers love that.
Sure, no, we're doing it. It starts again with PuppetMaster 10 or X, PuppetMaster X, Access Rising.
On some of the video zones, there was glimpses of figures in the background, like the cyborg puppets. Care to elaborate on that? Why that fell through, or if it's going to happen?
Well, it's one of those things that I'm pretty sure that we are going to be able to make. That's a PuppetMaster that has been written actually many years ago, but was just so expensive to make. And the problem is we want to do so many things here, but we're also limited with what we can afford. To stay in business as an independent filmmaker, distributor isn't easy. It was definitely a little bit of a better business 10, 15 years ago. So, we've been holding on and doing the best we can, but, I read a lot of times, I look in the forums sometimes, and I get emails, and the questions are all easily answered. I'd love to do what you guys are suggesting, but, you need the money, and sometimes it's very hard. So you can only really do what you can afford, and if we had unlimited money, a lot of the things the fans want to see, we'd be doing. As it relates to the next PuppetMaster, it in all likelihood will be the cyborg PuppetMaster. That's something we've been wanting to make for many years, so I'm hopeful we'll be able to make that one in about a year.
Oh, perfect. What spawned PuppetMaster?
Oh, inspired. Probably more than anything else, the Karen Black episode of Trilogy of Terror. I've been a fan of any little puppet and doll movies dating back to the 50s. I always loved to see small little strange creatures and inanimate objects come back to life. Even, in one of the early Frankenstein movies, I think it was the second Frankenstein film, when Dr. Pretorius, I think it was Pretorius, anyway, he brought back, or he had those glass jars with those humans inside those glass jars. I was just, as a little kid, I wasn't alive back then, but I saw that, on TV. It was just so fascinating, these small creatures. And later on with some of the more well-known movies from the 50s. And then finally with the Karen Black episode of Trilogy of Terror, I just thought it was just a great area, and I could never get enough of those. And very few of those movies up to that point were ever made. So all those films and all those early experiences were sort of what motivated me to create these puppets.
Oh, yeah. Many fans have asked, and I simply didn't have the answer. So thank you for answering that.
Sure, of course.
How would you describe the success of the PuppetMaster series?
I don't know. I think it's probably in part because it was at the time, especially in 1990 when the first one came out, very unique. And I think people respond to things they've never seen before. And if you make a slasher movie or some of these more recent torture horror type films, or if it's familiar territory, if it's kids in a cabin getting threatened by something, and as well done as it may be, I think people, when they've seen that 500 times, it's like, all right, well, that's just another one of those kind of movies. So I think to our advantage, we had a very unique premise. The idea that these marionettes, these stringless puppets, were created during World War II, and they fell into the wrong hands, and each one was sort of a superhero, supervillain, or the other way around. I think all that was so fresh and different that these type of movies responded. Then once they saw the movie, we did a pretty good job, again, always with a very low budget, of making, I think, a credible film. So all of a sudden people got into, whether it was Blade or Eat a Leech Woman or Pinhead, and they became, I don't want to say superheroes, that sounds wrong, but whatever they became, as we started making Puppet Master 2 and 3, we developed and, tried to stay consistent with the storyline. I mean, we jumped all over the place, and that was the problem of just, never really knowing from the very beginning we were going to be making, now we're about to make our 10th Puppet Master. But I think the reason why people responded is it looked really cool and it looked really different.
Yeah, and many people respect your work as far as keeping stop motion alive and keeping the practical effects alive as opposed to CGI.
That's really interesting you say that, because I'm a fan of real organic effects, and that's really a dying business. I mean, when you really think of all the big movies, everything is pretty much CGI. And I mean, CGI has its limited place. It's not horrible, but from the standpoint of what actors react to, which in the case of CGI is nothing, because they get sticks or something that gets waved in front of them to give them their eye line, but the creature is always dialed in later. From that end of it, where you get performances that are usually a little not as credible, to the sheer fact that no matter how good the CGI is, and some of it's amazing, it's still kind of cartoony. So you have these disadvantages. Of course, you can do things you could never have done 20 years ago, but when a real effect, a real organic effect, is in that scene, when someone's looking on a desk and a 16-inch little creature is, whipping a blade around or whatever it's doing, it's there, it's shot, it's on the same piece of film, and it's just more credible. It's a real deal. And, stop motion, in a way is sort of arcane. The detractors say, well, it moves funny, it's all jittery, and, that's true. I mean, it wasn't the perfect solution. Today we can do, I think, a lot more with rod puppets and with a little bit of CGI just to, add a little finishing touch here and there. But still, whether it's a rod puppet or a stop motion animation or whatever it is, if the creature, critter, character, doll, puppet is in the room with the actor and it's shot that way, it's no matter what they do with CGI, it just feels more real,
And I agree. I mean, it's a dying art. I mean, what you guys,
it is a dying art.
Yeah, what you guys did in the first couple films. I mean, I'm not saying all the other films, but in the first ones, you see, especially in Puppet Master 1 and 2 and 3, where you just see these creatures, and it's very funny because a couple of my friends were saying, well, CGI is better. I go, well, yeah, but if on stop motion, if you guarantee pause on a DVD or Blu-ray, you see frame per frame, you see the perfection, the time it took for the magic.
Oh yeah, it took forever. Well, back in the day, it would take us a week to do one 5-second shot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's a lot of So sometimes a mix, a blend, can be very powerful as well. I mean, right now we do a lot of stuff with rod puppets, and sometimes we have as many as 3 or 4 puppeteers animate a character or creature or doll that's in the scene. Of course, with CGI later on, you erase the rods, you erase, whatever you don't want to see. So there's a good use for CGI. And we can also put in blinks and things that would be trickier if they were live action. So I mean, and you can add things. And I mean, CGI is not the devil. It's just if you're creating a full creature in CGI, I just think it's very, very difficult to make it look real.
Okay. Very, I'm sure the friends would appreciate you talking about that, because many people are go to the movies and watch Transformers, and they're like, all right, it looks nice, but that's not what we want to see. But
Transformers is a good example of something that, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, again, the other problem with these movies is everything is just too much. Some of the great movies, the Ray Harryhausen films of 20, 30 years ago, they sprinkled in the effects, they built characters, it was isn't just a wall-to-wall effects thing. And today, most of these big movies, that's all they are. So you don't care about the people. It just becomes stupid, which is really, that's not a function of CGI or stop motion or one technology versus another. That's a function of just a good screenplay. These long movies have got to last over 2 hours with endless effects. It feels like the movie never ends. And when you have little kids walking out, and I hear them all the time walking out of the audience literally saying, God, I wish there was more story, and I wish I liked the characters. The effects were awesome, but the movie sucked. You hear that time and time again.
And it's funny that you say character, because one of your beloved characters, aside from the Puppet Master, is obviously Andre Toulon.
Right.
Did you intend the comic book series to coincide with the films, or for it to be completely different?
You mean the comic books that we published?
Yes.
Yeah, no. That was they started getting published about a year and a half after the first Puppet Master. So, we as we developed those, we let the writers and the artists, take it a little into a different area, but they were all inspired by the movies.
Okay. Did the name Andre Toulon have a certain meaning to the writer or to yourself?
Not really. I think if you were to ask the original writer or writers, there probably was a significance, which I've long forgotten. So there may be a historical character, some character in some, who do that a lot, some prior movie that, this was patterned after it, but I don't remember. I have no clue.
No, that's fine. But seeing Guy Ralph played Andre Toulon in Puppet Master 3 through 5 and Retro, was there a special connection to that character that you would say?
Yeah, I loved his interpretation of the character. I mean, William Hickey would have been great too, and he passed away. So we went with Guy, and I wish everyone lived forever, and these guys could keep coming back. But we've been doing Puppet Masters now for going on 23 years. So unfortunately, people move on. But yeah, I love the Guy Rolfe Puppet Master.
Oh, okay, cool. If you don't mind me asking, I can edit this question out, but were you pleased with all Puppet Master films? If you don't mind me asking, which one?
No, you can ask that. I'm happy to answer. Of course not. The problem is that, again, it's back to what I said earlier. Everyone sets out with the best intentions to make the best movie. No one says, I'm not going to make a good movie, or I'm not going to, you hope for the best. But the problem is sometimes, your attention goes elsewhere. Sometimes you just don't have the money to do certain things. I mean, we've started many projects where we want to do all these cool things, and by the time we're really into it, it's like, oh crap, we can't afford all this stuff. So, unfortunately, a lot of this is a function of budgets and money. We're trying to run a business here, and I mean, I'm proud of the fact that we've been around for decades. I mean, most people can't say that, So Full Moon didn't just start up, like 9 months ago. But it's also frustrating when, most of the comments that I get or I read on movies I've made over the many years are things that I was aware of and I would have liked to have done differently, but we ran out of time, we ran out of money. That's the problem. So when I look back at the Puppet Masters, the first 5 really were probably the best. We had more time, we had more money, I was more involved. And then the other ones, not that they were terrible, but I was less involved. There was way less money. And then we went to China. We tried to do a better job with Puppet Master 9. I think it has some nice moments, but we just didn't have a lot of funds to do a lot of puppet action. I mean, I think the picture looked good. Mm-hmm. We had a couple bad casting things that we were sort of forced to take, because sometimes, you do a deal and you have to live with someone. Someone says, I'm going to help you make this movie, or I'm going to help you fund this movie, but this is someone I know and I want you to put her in the film. I mean, these things happen. I try to resist that, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get something made. So I'm hoping that Puppet Master 10, the one that I start shooting in a few weeks, we got a little more money to spend. We got 4, new evil puppets, not one. So we got a lot of new characters we're introducing, and I'm hoping it's up there amongst the best. But unfortunately, it's hard sometimes. You set out to do something cool, and then you just go, wow, I want to shoot 4 more days, or I want to do more effects, but then you have no more money. Mm-hmm. that's part of the problem. You know, people don't realize it. They think, well, why isn't Full Moon doing this? And I mean, I'll give you another good example. You know, we're just announcing now that we're putting our top 40 movies on Blu-ray. Now it's going to take about 2 years to release them. We're going to start in September. We're going to release PuppetMaster 2 and 3, and it's taken years now to really save up the money to go back to the original negatives and make these HD transfers, you know, and I've seen hundreds of letters saying, why isn't Full Moon doing Blu-ray? What's wrong with them? They should do Blu-ray. What about Blu-ray? Where's Blu-ray? Well, you know, just to make that master is $10,000-$15,000 for one movie. You know, it's very expensive because you go back to the negative and there's color correction. It's not like a little easy deal to do. Now, I'm proud of the fact that these things look incredible. I mean, when people start seeing PuppetMaster 2 and 3 in September and then Subspecies 2 and 3 in October, they're going to go, oh my God, I've never seen anything look so good. I mean, it's that good. But it's taken a few years to make this happen, and that's only a function of money. You know, it's like, you know, there's no sugar daddy coming and saying, hey, here's a whole bunch of money. Why don't you do whatever you want to do? So there are so many things like that where we want to do things. We want to, you know, shoot more stuff or deliver more stuff or do things that are obvious, but we have to wait till we can afford them, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, and
so anyway, there's a lot of good stuff brewing here. Where we got a good roll. We're making almost a movie a month, so it's exciting.
No, and many fans agree with you. You know, they have their ups and downs, but regardless, anything. They love Full Moon. They love the PuppetMaster series, Subspecies, and, you know, you have so much respect, you know, despite what most fans say.
Thanks, Abel. Well, thank you. And, you know, I think that what the fans are going to see now going forward with these movies will be the best movies we've made since the early 90s. When we have more time and more money, I think we're on a whole new roll of some really cool stuff. So, you know, I appreciate your time as well, and I look forward to, you know, I'm so busy I don't get a chance to read a lot of this, but I'm sure you'll give Rye, you know, whatever it is you're writing so I can take a peek.
I want my site, or, you know, for to help you guys out, and I do want to do fundraising for your guys' films. I mean, I'm not asking anything in return. I just want you guys to continue.
Oh, I sure appreciate that. Well, keep communicating with Rye. We're definitely growing, and we're definitely are slowly able to make more movies. And I appreciate all your help, Abel.
Okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. Thank you.
All right, dude.
Can I ask you 2 more questions, please?
Sure. There's someone here. I gotta go. Sure.
Oh man, I lost my.
Oh. Okay, no problem.
No. If I had the opportunity to meet you in Dallas, you know, the unveiling of Evil Bong 30.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, would you be doing anything closer, southern Texas?
No Texas. The only travel, I mean, other than San Diego, which is here, for the Comic-Con, I'm going to be part of an event in Chicago in August, which is Flashback Weekend. They're doing a whole special premiere of a sort of a lost treasure. I made a movie in the mid-'80s, and one of the episodes was called The Evil Clergyman with Jeffrey Combs. Barbara Crampton is from a H.P. Lovecraft piece, and we found that footage, and we've been restoring it, and we're doing a world premiere in Chicago. I think it's Saturday the 11th, but Flashback Weekend, they'll be promoting the crap out of it. So Barbara Crampton's coming to Chicago, and so is Jeffrey Combs, and I'll be there, and we'll do this cool premiere. So if you can find a way to get to Chicago, we'll be there the second week of August.
All right, and final question is, what would you want to say to the fans out there?
No, just, you know, what does anyone who makes movies or creates art or music say to the people who follow their work? It's, you're grateful, and I really feel like I'm just beginning. That's true, I've made a lot of movies, but I wake up in the morning going, you know, I'm going to really make this next movie awesome, and I think I know better how to do it, and so I just want to keep making cool films. You know, that's all that interests me.
All right, and thank you so much, Mr. Ben.
Hey, Bill, take care, man.
You too.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.